Welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield on this Thursday, July 10th, just in advance of the Krokhol Open, as the European swing really gets into full force. Most of the Americans heading over for Worlds will be in the field this weekend at the Krokhol Open on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and they will go from Oslo, Norway, over to Estonia for next week's European Disc Golf Festival, and then up to Finland for the World Championships a week after that. So it's an exciting stretch of disc golf. Josh, you're just a couple days away from your trip. Are you fired up?
I'm fired up. It's going to be great. I probably shouldn't be too fired up because I've got like a 16-hour. I've got a long plane ride to temper those to get me settled down. But
no, it's fun. Long flights are fun. You watch some movies, have some nice dinner, the whole deal.
Yep. No, it'll be good. I am stoked. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, so we got a bunch to get to today. We forgot to talk about the ratings yesterday. Our apologies. We're like teasing it all show, and then we never talked about it. So let's talk about them now. We had the ratings update on Tuesday, and some pretty interesting moves this time around. Let's start an MPO. Gannon is still your number one player in the world in terms of rating at 1058. No moves this month. Josh, who are some of the notable movers, though?
Yeah. It's interesting. Ricky and Calvin came closer together. Ricky dropped 2 points down to 1051. Calvin jumped up by 3 points to 1048. So those two are just a couple of points away from each other. But to note, that gap between Gannon and the rest of the field did widen by virtue of Ricky dropping down. It's so interesting because in previous years, it's felt like it's interesting because last year, Gannon and Ricky both played phenomenally, right? They were just like neck and neck. They're always head to head, but Gannon was just winning a ton. This year, neither of them are winning nearly as much, or at least that's kind of like the narrative, the perception. But yet Gannon is like maintaining his rating, playing at the same level and keeping himself separated, but not carrying the wins with it. So it's I think it's an interesting dynamic. But those would be your next two. After that, Isaac stays flat at 1047. AB jumps up a couple points to 1046. Nicholas at 1045 jumps 3 points. Paul McBeth drops a point to 1044. Evan Smith stays flat at 1044. Kyle Klein drops 3 points to 1042. Ezra Robinson stays flat at 1042. And Joe Revere jumps 6 points to jump into the 1040 club.
What a beast, dude. Still not enough to win the Masters Worlds, though.
Not enough to win Masters Worlds. But yeah, he's now up to 1040. So that's your 1040 and 1050 club, Charlie.
Awesome. Shout out to Mio Hamalainen, who we talked about yesterday, finishing second place in his first ever Disc Golf Pro Tour start. He's still a junior. He's up to 1018, 6 points up after starting the year at 1005. So flying up the board already, and certainly a player to watch. Put his name very much on the radar this past weekend. Over in FPO, mentioned it yesterday, Kristin does drop out of the 1,000 rated club. She's at 998, falling 2 points. Holland is still the second highest rated player in the world. She is unmoved at 991. Evelina, now number 3 in the world in rating. She jumps 7 points to 988, surpassing Missy, who dropped a point to 987. So not really a big surprise given the level of play that she has showed us the last month with 3 straight wins. So really, really nice performance there from Evelina. Other notables, Cadence Burge joins the 970 club. She jumped 5 points into 970. So the 970 rated club is Cadence, Ella, Paige, Cat Merch, Haley, Silva, Owen, Missy, Evelina, Holland, and Kristin.
That's the 990 to 970 club.
Well, yes.
970 plus club, yeah.
970 plus.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because FPO is spread further. The reason I highlight that is not to be like pedantic. It's because I want to separate and show that between FPO, the top of, the 970 club, players who have won this season, Ella Hansen, Cadence Burge, are still nearly 30 points behind Kristin, right? That range of consistency is a drastic difference on FPO, even as we have some top talent that is starting to consolidate, and it's starting to feel like you have a group that really could win in every week, but that consistency isn't quite the same in terms of the level of their play, as opposed to like MPO, for example, where it's 18 points between your really top and bottom of that kind of same grouping.
Yep. Notably, we've been talking a lot about these young European players who've really been showing out. How about Ida Emily Ness, up to 943, plus 15 points after starting the year at 922 rated.
That's crazy.
Julia Fours jumps 9 points to 926 rated after starting the year at 903. She's 13 years old, and she's 926 rated. So for all of you out there who are not 926 rated, which there's many of you, just keep that in mind. And then Ida Letomaki up to 943 plus 11 points after starting the year at 922. So she and Ness have both started the year at 922, and they're both 943 rated at this time.
Neck and neck. Yeah, on the come up. I'm curious. Let me look, Charlie, really quick before we move on from this. I want to give a little bit of context to like who are some players that are rated 943. Now, obviously, these players are jumping up. And so, I continue to expect them, and there's always lag behind. But for reference, Katie Alsalu is 942 rated. Kona Montgomery is 941 rated. You've got like Sayananda and Jessica Weiss, 944 and 945 respectively. So that's kind of like the range that we're talking about. And Sayananda has won a Pro Tour event. So it's like we are quickly approaching this level that these I mean, we already talk about them in terms of their finishes, but they very quickly could become like household names on tour if they continue this ascent.
Absolutely. I mean, we're watching it happen in real time. It's pretty awesome. And a chance for some of these players to really make a name for themselves with back-to-back majors coming up over the next 3 weeks. So exciting stuff. Josh, I didn't put this in the rundown, but okay. I wanted to bring it up right now. Did you see Paul McBeth's Instagram post from yesterday?
Is this about like wanting to play till 40?
Yes.
Yeah, I did see that.
We'll put it up on the screen for the YouTubers. And please give us a like and subscribe over on YouTube if you're not already checking out the pod over there. Paul McBeth just turned 35, so happy birthday, Paul. And he said, I've always told myself I want the opportunity to retire from the sport when I turn 40. The reality is 40 is only 5 years away. The positive to that is that I have a new goal, which is to give everything I have to this sport for the next 5 years and dedicate myself like I never have before. I can see a finish line, and I want to cross it at full speed. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think I saw this post, and I think I underreacted to it relative to a lot of people, because like it hit social medias and people are like, oh my gosh. And my thought is like, this is different than team sports, right? This isn't like with disc golf. Paul can continue to play as much or as little of a tour while still being a touring player and do his other enterprises and a foundation and other work that's involved with the tour. If you said in 3 years, Paul's playing half as many events, but he also commentates, like, does that mean he's retired? Like, sure. I don't know. I think
it's not like you like leave the NFL and that's
right. It's not like Tom Brady played half the season and then commentated the other half of the season and it's like, no, I'm not retired, I promise. Like, so I think that I care way more about how Paul is competing, like, and how his performance is Paul winning? Is Paul getting close to winning? Because eventually, if Paul doesn't return to Paul form, if Paul doesn't win another major or come close to winning majors, then I think that the discussion around this, Paul McBeth misses cash like last weekend, becomes kind of a tired discussion. And regardless of whether or not he is fully touring, becomes more of a semantics thing than a true, like, to what extent is Paul meaningfully an active and competing touring player? So I guess I was a little underwhelmed, and not even underwhelmed, like, Paul plans to play more tour events till he's 40. Okay, cool. How much? I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I could expect his ideas to change in 2 to 3 years anyway. So
that's fair. I think it's. I'm also not like blown away by this or anything.
Okay.
I think it's interesting that he's sort of setting a deadline.
Sure.
Of like, my playing career will end at 40. And I will I mean, the way he makes it sound is like that will not that he'll never play disc golf, but
Right.
like he's not going to be a touring player at that point.
Sure. But if he's still got it, like,
not that that's crazy. Like 40
No,
is an age where a lot of people are going to stop playing a lot of tour.
Yeah.
They're going to start playing Masters and they're going to do whatever. But I just think it's interesting. And so I guess my question then is, what can he accomplish between 35 and 40?
see, this is an interesting question.
Because there's a lot of things, legacy things left on the table.
Right. There are.
He could still set the all-time major record.
Yes. Yes. He could continue to push, the modern number. I mean, he's obviously not getting to 12, but he could continue to push the modern number of world championships.
Sure.
He could continue to make different, set records in terms of USDGC wins. There are lots of things that he could do. And I guess, so does Paul win another major? Man, I like, as much as I want to just say, I think it's like, it would feel on brand for me just to say, nope, Paul's done. He's not winning another major. Right. But there's a part of me that can't put away the Paul McBeth magic. The idea, and this, like, Paul comes out of nowhere. He isn't playing well, and then the majors show up, and there's Paul McBeth chasing somebody down for the win. I just don't. If Tiger could win the Masters in 2019, Paul McBeth could win USDGC in 2 years.
100%.
I can't say it. As long as Paul McBeth is playing disc golf right now, like for the next 5 years, I probably think he could win a major.
I mean, it's not like he's 10-29 rated and like clearly
Right.
just not at that level. He's still in the 1040s.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I know he hasn't been spectacular this season, but he hasn't been bad. He's got multiple top 10s. I mean, he started the season pretty damn good, honestly.
He did.
3rd at SFO, 7th at Austin, 4th at Music City, 3rd at Kansas City. And then it's been a little less great since then. 20th Champions Cup. He did finish in the top 10 at Cascade Challenge, but then 19th, 15th, and 48th at PCS. I don't really know what to make of the lower finishes lately, but it doesn't matter, right? Like,
Right.
Zoom out. We know he's capable of showing up and playing well at the majors. We've seen it his entire career. Just a couple years ago, we didn't think that he had it anymore, and he won out and won Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so hard to say. Like, I actually think the over-under on major wins moving forward for Paul is probably 1.5. Because I think that, like, people would probably pick him to win one more.
Yeah.
Would you take the over or the under?
On 1.5 or half?
Yeah, 1.5.
I'd probably take the under, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can give him 2. Because
Go
ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's going to be really interesting to see, like, if he can harness all his skills back to the level that we've seen in the past.
Here's where I'll tell you exactly the conditions that make this post interesting. If Paul wins a major in 3 years, does he stick to this? Does he walk away from a lot of tour events and majors if he's winning when he's 38 or 39? Right? That's when this gets interesting to me. But if Paul doesn't win again for the next 3 to 4 years, then yeah, okay, you're done playing as much. Okay. Like, you've been declining a little bit how much you play anyway. But if I want to know if Paul returns or stays at Paul form and wins some events, does Paul walk out when he's back on top of the sport? That makes this post interesting to me. But if Paul continues the kind of trajectory, I don't know. I just don't find it I was not earth shattered by this post like some on social media.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Let's take a quick break. We're going to talk next with Matthias Vutt, who is the head of operations over in Estonia for the disc golf scene over there, basically, and is running the show for this European Disc Golf Festival. Also formerly Kristin Lätt's manager. Got a great interview with him coming up about the European Disc Golf Festival, the major next week, and kind of how it came to come into existence, what the future of this tournament is as they look ahead to a Worlds in 2029, and lots to get to there. So we will talk with him next. After that, we're talking Krokhol. We're making our picks. Stay with us. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. Understandably, lots of hype about the new redesigned Octo line here in 2025, but let's just remember, the Rufus is the bag that I had been dreaming about. I finally got one, and I can't imagine ever getting another bag, to be perfectly honest. And they've got 2 brand new small batches of the slightly smaller Rufus bag available now. They have upper detail pocket upgrades, additional Velcro swatches. They got the purple and the black, and then dark red burnt orange color. I guess they call that rust. There's grape and rust. So check them out. Grab yourself a Rufus today, and still plenty of space for all your stuff, but it's just not too big. Perfect size for me. PoundDiscGolf.com. Joining us now on the Upshot is Matthias Vutt. He is the Team Estonia Disc Golf Director of Operations. Matthias, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. This Estonian Disc Golf Festival, European Disc Golf Festival, and the getting the major status this year, big future ahead of this tournament as well. I'm actually really interested in starting a little bit further back in how did Estonia, and not just the disc golf side of Estonia, but like the country and the, all of the support that this tournament has had, how did this come to pass? I mean, was this a Kristin got big story and then Estonia wanted to get more involved, or is there a deeper history here that we don't know?
Well, yeah, let's say that since we are a really small country, there's 1.3 million of us. Then usually when someone gets big in some sport, be it disc golf or, I don't know, soccer or fencing or whatever, then usually the whole country steps behind that person or that sports. And at some point, Kristin got big. There are some other really popular names like Albert or Silver or Mauri now as well. And then at the same time, there were a lot of new courses popping up. So if I'm not mistaken, there are 270 courses in Estonia, and you need to take into account that Estonia is a really tiny country. So I think we are number one in the world in terms of courses and square meters of the country. So it somehow all came together, and then when we bid for the European Championships in 2023, we saw that the governmental institutions and also the city of Tallinn and then some private companies are ready now to support disc golf. So yeah, that's how it started, and the rest is history.
Did we know that Worlds was going to be in Finland when you bid for the European major? Or did you know that they were putting a bid? Was it kind of like a joint, okay, we know that Finland's going for Worlds, let's try and get the European major so we can combo those two? Or were you thinking, let's see if we can move the European major over to Estonia for that year?
We actually didn't know. So the first at first we heard about that Finland is getting the World Championships, and at that point I think we spoke with Jussi, and then somehow heard that there should be a second major in Europe. So that's when we were just finishing up the last year's Disc Golf Pro Tour event. That was a great success, and pretty much everyone was praising it. So yeah, that's when we jumped in and then started the talks with PDGA, and then got the approval to host this year's major in Tallinn.
Just for our U.S. audience, Estonia is around the same size as West Virginia and about twice as big as New Jersey. So just like from a landmass size for people to have, and how many courses did you say?
270.
Wow. That puts it in perspective for me.
Yeah.
So what, like your role, you're involved on the disc golf side of things in Estonia, right? How?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I guess because the government has come in and really supported this event, at least in year one, and maybe you can tell us if that's continuing, but you're a disc golf focused. And then did you reach out to the Estonian government and like get support for this event and bringing the tournament into Estonia?
Yeah, well, in Estonia, things work a bit differently probably than in the States. So we, first of all, we are like a really digitalized country. So pretty much no one prints anything out, and that everything is digitalized. So there are like certain paid processes that if you're organizing like a really big event, it doesn't have to be only sports or some cultural event and so forth. Then you have those like paid windows that you can bid on. So, and we pretty much used one of those. So there's one for the city of Tallinn. That's actually the culture sports capital of Europe this year. So yeah, we used one of those. Then we were speaking with the Ministry of Culture, and also we have a institution called Enterprise Estonia that operates under the brand Visit Estonia that you already know. We can speak about it later. They also are giving out like some grants, so to help organize foreign events that the events that will bring in foreigners. So that's about it from the governmental and city side. Yeah.
Well, I'm a big fan of Visit Estonia, but we'll come back to that. I wanted to ask, I want to broaden Charlie's question here to give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about the extent that you have local support for this event. And by local support, I mean to what extent local media are involved and going to be covering this event? To what extent do you have sponsors who are non-disc golf sponsors who are involved in this event? And to what extent do you have those governmental agencies or other national entities that are being involved in this major that otherwise are not necessarily, endemic to disc golf?
Yeah, well, it's probably easier to take our budget, which is roughly 700,000 euros this year. So if we take that, so let's say about 1/3 comes from the Enterprise Estonia, the Ministry of Culture, and also the city of Tallinn. So and then let's say the other third comes from, I don't know, selling tickets and other revenue streams that we are focusing on. And the last third comes from private companies. So I actually I think it was like 3 hours ago, sent a file to our printing company with the media wall. So there are 63 different companies that are actually supporting us this year. So if you go to our homepage, you will see them. Some of them are international brands as well, like Nike, for instance, and yeah. So the overall support is pretty big. The second thing that you asked about the media side. So I think we are the first country in the disc golf world that where the local television or the local channels are broadcasting these big events. So this is the third year now in a row. We have two main partners. One is the largest Scandinavian media company called Telia. So they have their own TV channel called Telia Inspira. And the second one is the largest media outlet called Delfi. So yeah, we are showing the whole tournament plus the superstar event happening on Tuesday on both channels. So Delphi is on the online side, and then the Inspira is like their old school TV side, let's say.
Charlie, if I can follow up with that really quick, when you're approaching these companies and kind of describing this event, to what extent are you leveraging Kristin and her popularity, or is it broad, or just more like, here's how many countries are represented, here's how many players we're going to have? What's that balance like? Were you like, hey, by the way, here's our Estonian superstar who is probably the odds-on favorite to win, and seeing that? So
yeah, I think we have never approached anyone in a way that, hey, Kristin is also coming. So I think the overall story has been that, hey, we are planning to organize the best disc golf competition ever. There are all the main disc golf superstars will be here, and among others, there's Kristin as well. And that being said, I don't want to say that Kristin's role is somehow like not important. It's definitely important, because most Estonian sports fans know Kristin from all the disc golfers. So for instance, if you come to Estonia on Monday, you will see a lot of disc golf or European Disc Golf Festival ads on the streets, and then definitely we are using Kristin as the hero on those outdoor ads. So yeah. Her role is important, but I would say that we have shown that we can organize really high level competitions, and now pretty much all the sponsors that are coming in see this as a great opportunity to showcase their brand and to some collaboration stuff.
So the course is built on the Tallinn Song Festival grounds, and we've been seeing some of the images and videos from the area because there's been a lot of rain, and there was obviously a ton of people there for the Song Festival. And the course, got incredibly muddy and just totally crushed in spots. And there was video of people on the EDGF team putting out sod and trying to get the course ready to be played. Can you give us an update on how that's going and what kind of mitigation efforts you have in place to kind of deal with what look like very, very tough conditions on the course?
Yeah, this is going to be a long answer now, but I will go back roughly a month. So just to explain how the situation actually got started. So roughly a month ago, Justin Timberlake was performing in Tallinn Song Festival grounds. So there was about 50,000 or 60,000 people there, and it poured like 2 days in a row. So this was the first time when everything was really, really muddy. So after that, roughly a month, the Tallinn Song Festival ground team did everything they could. And they already back then said that if it's heavily raining during the Song Festival as well, since there are like 150,000 people during 2 days, everything will get messy again. And sadly, it went that way. So it was like constantly raining for the past few weeks, I would say. And as you saw the images, I was also there during the Song Festival. So it looked really bad. But during the festival already, we had like meetings in place with some landscaping companies and also the team from Tallinn Song Festival grounds. And for the past 4 days now, there have been like 10 people constantly working on the grounds, and everything is looking pretty sweet, I would say. So if we look at our standards, so we would usually prefer that the grass is close to like golf green grass, and everything's it's a like park style course. But if we compare it to, I don't know, some other courses around the world, when it's pretty common that it's some mud and there are areas that you don't have grass, then I would say that it's pretty much the same like everywhere else. And most of the holes are covered with really good grass already by now. So yeah, I think it was on Monday when I sent out an email to Phil Dillon that we probably need to cancel Sunday's practice round. But yesterday we agreed that everything is going smoothly and no need to do any changes to the course or practice days. So yeah, all good.
Wow. So is the sod? I mean, how many holes, I guess, required that kind of like full treatment with sod, or I don't know if you're using mulch as well, to kind of get it to a good state? Because I mean, I sort of saw a map, but it was a little unclear, like just where the damage was and what was like, was half the course in good shape already?
Yeah. There were actually 3 holes that were in a really, really bad shape. So
Got it.
for those, we used like the grass carpet is the probably correct term, or I don't know. You have those rolls of grass that you were planting.
Yeah, that's what sod in English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. So we had like 1,500 square meters of sod planted on the grounds for 3 holes, and everything else was like, I don't know, just covered up and put some new grass seeds and stuff like that. So yeah, it pretty much affected like 3 to 4 holes mainly.
Tell us a little bit about the upcoming structure. You mentioned the Superstar event. What's that going to look like? What are people who are going to be attending what should they expect from this major?
Well, yeah. Last year we experimented with this new event called the Superstar event. This time it's sponsored by Coolbat, who's also the name sponsor of the major. It's a special event. That's the first thing. So it attracts a lot of people that don't know much about disc golf. So this is also how we are communicating it. So what that means is that we have three events. So we have the distance showcase, we have the accuracy, and then also the putting, and we have teams of 4, so 2 MPO players, 2 FPO players, and it's all taking place in front of the Song Arch. So usually if you want to follow disc golf, you have to walk around a lot, but in this case you can pretty much take a beer, some snacks, and sit underneath the Song Arch and just watch everything at hand. So, and then the second part of the story is that we, for the second year in a row, we have bought a really huge band, a local band to the Song Festival grounds. So this time it's Trad Attack, who's like some ethno folk music. So they will give their last concert in Tallinn, actually. So when we booked them, they, one day after that, they announced that they are gonna pretty much separate
Wow.
in the beginning of autumn. So yeah, this is the last concert they will have in Tallinn, and then we are expecting a lot of people for the event. And about the teams, we are actually starting to announce the teams from today. So we have, all the teams have special names, special shirts. They have team captains. Last year's winners, Big Germ, Anniken Steen, and the Eagle will return, but they will have one more FBO player, and yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be really, really, really fun.
I know there's some course changes this year. Can you say a little bit about, generally how you've started to adapt the course a little bit more, and maybe kind of what the vision is for the future of this course as you look ahead towards an eventual Worlds?
Yeah, I know that the course things are your favorite topic, so I'm gonna address that a bit. Not only yours, but disc golf media as a whole. So I think we really believe that we don't need to pay that much attention to the courses. You might disagree, that's fine. We see that if we want to grow the sport, we need to bring disc golf to the people, not try to invite the people to some rural areas and show them like those so-called really, really, really great courses. But at the end of the day, there are like, I don't know, 100 people watching disc golf. So the concept that we are operating with is that we have the capital city of Estonia, Tallinn. It's in the middle of the city. It's a closed property, and we are trying to put up a course as good as it gets. So it's definitely not the best course in the world. We all know that, but it's definitely also not the easiest one. So we have compared the statistics from, I don't know, all the other European courses, and if I'm not mistaken, only the Tampere and Nokia played a little harder. Even the Krokhols and PCSs and other played a bit easier. So last year the main problem was that Ricky shot an unbelievable round, like -16. But if you look at the other scores, they are like pretty average. There are like -7, -8, maybe some -10s and stuff like that. And what the disc golf media and also the players haven't seen yet is the wind, because Tallinn Song Festival grounds is actually 200 meters from the Baltic Sea. So usually it's really windy there. But for some strange reason, for the European Championships and also for last year's Pro Tour event, there was pretty much no wind. So as soon as the wind picks up, this course will be really, really tough. But if we now are speaking about the course changes, then we have one totally new hole that's outside of the festival area. That's hole number 4. We have improved some other holes. Some holes are played in other like the other direction as before. The hole 18 is now an island hole. We have got rid of the drop zone from the hole number 7. The hole is pretty much similar to the European Open hole 16, I think. So and I think we have about the course in length is, I think, 260 meters longer than last year. Plus, we have 3 holes with 2 pin positions. So for the day 1 and day 2, it plays a bit easier, and day 3 and 4 a bit harder. So yeah, we are trying to do as much as possible together with Seppo Bayo, who's the main designer of this course. But at the end of the day, we can't change the landscape there. We can't widen the Tallinn Song Festival ground areas, and yeah, that's where we stand at the moment.
You know, if you're worried about Ricky shooting around like that, you always could take a page out of Waco's playbook and just change the par without actually changing the hole at all, and just make it harder to score.
Yeah.
With the World Championship bid in 4 years, you're going to need a second course.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the second course that you plan on pairing with the Estonian Song Festival?
Yeah, you will see that when you visit us next week. But
right.
But about 1 kilometer from the Tallinn Song Festival ground, there's a place called Presidential Palace, where our president lives. And actually, the Presidential Palace is located in a park called Kadrioru Park that starts, I would say, 200 meters from the Tallinn Song Festival grounds. It's built by a pretty famous guy named Peter the Great, I think was his name back in days. So it's one of the most beautiful parks situated inside of the city. So we have the initial approval from the city and also from the people managing the park that we can build up the second course to this wonderful park that would probably attract thousands, if not tens of thousands of people during the Worlds.
Okay. I've always thought Konopiste is a cool course because it's on like the Franz Ferdinand Castle.
Yeah.
You win. The course is going to be at the Presidential Palace of Estonia. Congratulations, you officially have at least the concept. I'm getting ready for the coolest disc golf course in the world.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what was the discussion with the PDGA like? Because it's not something we've really seen, to have the PDGA make some sort of long-term agreement about an event and like eventually giving it a world championships. And, you know, we heard from some people who were upset that world's bid already went in and that they didn't feel like they had a chance to get their bid listened to. And so I'm just really curious about like how that happened and what the, like, did you reach out to them, I assume? And was there immediate willingness to have a conversation about establishing the tournament for a long period of time on tour and also as a major?
Yeah, well, the whole story started when we bid for the 2026 and 2027 Worlds or Major. And I think it was in January when we got the notice that we didn't get it. So at that point, we were like pretty bummed, I would say. We even had some discussions in our team that, hey, this is the last event that we are doing now this year, and then we're gonna pack our bags and do something else.
Oh, wow.
We actually had like 2 meetings where we were discussing these things. But at that point, we thought that, hey, maybe there is another way. So we pretty much started talking with some PDGA directors, or I don't know what's the correct term. So reached out to Doug and reached out to Jeff and then some other people and said that, hey, this is the situation. We are really thinking about pulling the plug. We have this great momentum at the moment. We have the backing of the country, backing of the city, backing of a lot of private companies, but we can't operate in a way that, hey, we will have one competition here in 2025 and the next one in 2027 and maybe one in 2030. And yeah, we were like pretty honest with them, said that we believe that Europe needs to have more worlds, more majors, and let's try to find a way how to make it work. And since those backings from the government and the city and the Enterprise Estonia needs to work in a way that they are like constant, not in like, I don't know, 1 year and then 3 years in a way. So then we tried to explain this logic, and at the end of the day, there were a lot of discussions going back and forth for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and we ended up doing a deal with PDGA at some point. Jussi was also there, telling that they are probably tired after the Worlds, and there are some construction going on after the Worlds, and so they don't have any clear plans what to do next. And then Jussi was also the one that said to BDGA that he strongly believes that we are the crew that could actually, I don't know, push the envelope for disc golf, and we got really nicely along with him, and he's been to Estonia, and we will go visit him in Finland for the Worlds now as well. And so yeah, at the end it all made sense. We got the deal that we wanted. I think European disc golf got a deal that European disc golf needs, and I think PDGA is happy as well.
Let me follow up, Josh.
Yep.
How are ticket sales tracking, and like, what do you imagine as the future of this tournament? Like, if you look ahead 5 years, let's say, or maybe just to the Worlds, because that's an obvious kind of like destination. What are you hoping to build this into, and how do you want to see it change between now and then?
Mm-hmm. ticket sales are good. So last year we had 13,000 spectators during 3.5 days, if we can also include the Superstar Challenge. This year we're hoping to get roughly 15,000 people to the Song Festival grounds. It's really weather dependent. So in Estonia, usually people, I would say roughly half of the people will buy the tickets the day before or during the actual event day. They will look at the weather forecast and then decide. So we don't know yet what's going to happen. The summer has been extremely rainy here for some strange reason. So let's see how it plays out. But for the looking ahead, I would say that well, our clear goal is to maintain the level and then push down envelope even more during the next year. So we already know that next summer we'll be hosting another major here. 2027 we hope to do a pro tour event here. We are in talks with the DGPT at the moment. 2028 we need to introduce the second course. So not sure yet if we are doing it like 1 round or 2 rounds in Kadriorg, 2 rounds in Tallinn Song Festival grounds, and 29 it will be the world. So hopefully the Estonian pros, especially Kristin, will continue playing at the highest level. Hopefully there will be some other Estonian touring pros, let's say Mauri, for instance, who just won his first DGPT event. There are some other upcoming guys as well, like Roland Kõur, who was, I think, 5th in last year's event. So hopefully the general public in Estonia will still hear a lot from those players that I mentioned, and then disc golf will be still one of the top sports here, and then hopefully it will gain a lot of media attention. So this is definitely important for us to maintain the level that we are operating.
You made mention during the discussions with the PDGA that UC had described this event as having the crew necessary to really push the envelope on disc golf and disc golf in Europe.
Yeah.
You made mention to us prior to us starting the show of a kind of unique tournament director and management system of this tournament that'll be happening this week. Do you want to tell us a little bit more and describe what that's going to look like?
Yeah, well, usually the disc golf tournament setup works in a way that there's TD and co-TD that are mainly responsible for the whole event, and then they have like other team members. So in our case, the TDs are like higher TDs. They are a part of our team, but the like main organizing crew, there's 4 of us, are actually the ones that are putting the event together. And then we have 10 project managers. So everyone is dealing with the different things. Like one is the VIP manager, one is dealing with marketing, one is dealing with social media, one is dealing with the vendors and stuff like that. So, and then there's roughly 100, or the exact number is 105 volunteers. So yeah, roughly 120 people involved in putting this event up.
So I guess one of the other interesting elements of this tournament is that it's not only happening in a country that like has not necessarily been historically a massive disc golf location, but has certainly grown into one over the last few years. But it's also, got a level of institutional support, I guess, that is atypical for disc golf. I mean, certainly in the United States, I mean, there's maybe some travel bureau and convention visitors bureau stuff starting to put some support towards disc golf pro tour events and majors. But that is also quite new in the last few years, it feels like. Do you expect that level of institutional support to remain? And how do you think that will impact the event overall? Like, are you getting support like beyond just monetary support from the government? Is there like an overall push to make disc golf like a bigger deal in Estonia, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Well, there's not like an overall push to make it bigger. So I think the main thing is where we actually started. That Estonia is a really tiny country, and the aim of these institutions is to bring more tax money and more foreign visitors here. So
Sure.
and since we now have this words deal also in our pocket, then it means probably that the governmental support will actually grow a bit, because we have a clear plan ahead of us, and I'm pretty sure that we can get more help from them, all those institutions, and let's say the world's name is already a really big thing for institutions like that. So if you say that, hey, we are doing a pro tour event, then probably no one knows what's a pro tour thing. But if you're saying that, hey, we are hosting the World Championships, then everyone suddenly would love to jump in and help somehow. So yeah, we are assuming that the support will grow a bit. Yeah.
And you were Kristin's manager for, I don't know exactly how long, a couple of years.
1.5 years. Yeah.
1.5 years.
Yeah.
And then, you guys separated, early this year? Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm just
I think it
trying to remember the timeline.
in March or April. Something.
So how was that experience, and what in your opinion drove the decision to part ways?
Yeah, well, it was a great experience. So it was really fun to see the in and outs of how a professional like Kristin is operating. So and I think we did some really great things together. So we got some, like, I think the overall experience was that we tried to make everything more professional that surrounds her, and I think we succeeded in that, and some like big projects that we had, like getting some new sponsors or launching her new collection, we all finished that. So and at some point in the beginning of this year, we just saw that she would like to maintain it all that we accomplished during the last 1.5 years, and I had some other ideas, and knowing that we were working on the world's deal as well, we pretty much came to a conclusion that it's easier for us to separate. So yeah, we get along really nicely and speak pretty much every week. So, and I'm really hoping to see her now in like few days time. So yeah, that's the story.
Kristin mentioned in an interview once, and I didn't follow up, and I wish I would have, and I have been curious to know since that interview. She talked about the Tallinn Song Festival and the importance that it is to Estonia and to the culture, in part because she said that Estonia sang their way free from the Soviet Union. I've always regretted not asking a follow-up to that, because I thought it was so interesting and I never did. I'd love to know what she meant by that. I know it's probably a loaded question, but I love a brief, like, why is this festival that just happened and the grounds where we're holding this tournament so important to Estonia?
Yeah. So yeah, like the Baltic countries were part of the Soviet Union back in the days. So, and at some point when the Soviet Union was already, I don't know, shaking, let's say, the singing revolution was the actual name. So pretty much what it meant was that a lot of people came together. It started from some smaller cities, and then at some point, I think it was 1988 was the first one. The people starting to get together in Tallinn Song Festival grounds. At the peak, there were 300,000 people from Estonia at this spot. And what they did was that they brought out the Estonian flags for the first time in 40-something years. And they were singing those Estonian like folk songs that they were used to singing in their homes, so that no one from the Soviet regime would know. So yeah, and they pretty much continued doing so. I was actually there as well. I was 2 years old when it started, so I didn't remember it, but I don't remember it, but yeah, I was there. And they were doing it for like few years time, and at some point the Soviet Union split up, and we got our freedom without shooting one bullet. So and it's that's why it's called like singing revolution, and it's a like really special place for Estonians.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing how the tournament goes. Good luck with getting the course ready to roll. And I'm excited to see how this tournament develops over time.
Thank you so much.
Matthias Vutt with us here on the Upshot. Looking forward to having you on again soon.
Thank you. Take care.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Upshot. Thanks again to Matthias for stopping by. Josh, really interesting event. I'm hopeful that what he says is true. I mean, the fact that they're going to let people play the practice round on Sunday makes me feel more confident that they're going to be okay with the conditions this weekend. Also, that it's really only a couple of holes that seem to be like in really, really bad shape.
I also just saw a post on Reddit where they showed before and afters, and it really does look quite nice. They've done a great job already with it, and given another week or two, I think that I'm optimistic.
Well, they get 1 week. They don't get 2 weeks.
Week. You're right. You're right.
But yeah, I'm wishing them luck. That's really hard to deal with, and it's somebody was talking about how expensive sod is, and they spent some coin.
They did. They did
get this done.
Yes, that's actually something I was going to say. I'm so impressed by like. There aren't many disc golf pro tour tournaments where, I guess this is a major. There aren't many majors. It is not long ago that we would have been in a state, and maybe at some majors still, if it had rained like that and created the mud, we'd go, well, hope you have waterproof shoes. Good luck.
Good luck out there.
And there we go.
Bring your towel.
Right. And for them to literally go, oh, we're just going to go bring in thousands of dollars of sod and sod it immediately to try and get it back in ready condition. Shout out this, Matthias is not wrong that they have quite the event crew behind them.
Crazy. Hopefully the roots take. I mean, that's the tough thing, right? They don't have that much time. But we were talking to Matthias off the air, and he said that they've been getting like rain overnight and sun during the day, which I guess is really good for grass.
Makes sense.
Rooting to take place. So hopefully it all works out and people don't have like a banana peel sod slip in the fairway.
Charlie, could you imagine Kristin plants and sod folds up and her foot touches her disc because the sod folds up and she gets called for the
marshals.
Oh my gosh.
All the marshals are going to be Estonian. They're letting it all slide.
That's right.
We got to get her back in the win column, baby.
Everyone is getting foot vault calls this week except Kristin.
Okay, now for something a little bit lighter. This just came across the wire. First of all, another thing that just came across while we were recording. Shout out Ezra Robinson skipping in an ace on the first hole of match play at Krokhol. That just happened moments ago.
What a way to open it. Good for Ezra. And man, he's still in the 1040 club. When Ezra won the Supreme Flight Open, I was like, here it comes. Like this Ezra's about to explode. And we've seen a lot of the up down Ezra that's not quite in contention. I hope he gets right. I love watching Ezra play. I really do.
Update, he then proceeded to lose the next 3 holes to Adam Hammes, so he's trailing by 2 in the match play.
You couldn't have led with that. You couldn't have stopped me, Charlie.
I'm sorry. I also want him to get back right. I want everybody to play great.
That's right.
Disc golf is more fun when everyone's playing well.
It's true.
How about this? Innova posted on Instagram celebrating Evelina's 3 wins. Take a look here on the YouTube post. Great, as they should, of course. Well done. They've got her, PCS, European, U.S. Women's, back to back. Holding up the sword from PCS. Got this cool, like, blue trophy from European Disc Golf Championship. Some kind of, like, little obelisk thing. Then U.S. Women, she's holding that trophy over her head, but, I can't really see it. Josh, they airbrushed it out.
They airbrushed it. It's not like because you see everywhere else, like, the trophies are clearly in front. They put the background, they put the Evelina layer, they put the words, and then they went in and airbrushed that trophy behind the E. In order, they could have left it and let it, like, the E just
if you
cover
zoom
most
and enhance, you can see that you would have been able to see it through the E, and they took it out.
They airbrushed that trophy
That
out.
tells you what you need to know. Like, if big disc golf is like, this is too embarrassing to put into the Instagram post because it's all people are going to talk about. Well, now we're talking about the fact that they airbrushed it out, but I have to go look at the comments in a little bit. That's so funny. Oh my
no,
gosh.
Man. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
The trophies, dude. It's always just, what is the deal? I do like the other 2 trophies quite a bit.
They look great. They look great.
Look great.
Yeah.
All right. Krokhol Open.
Yep.
This is the world #1 course back-to-back years on UDisc. I mean, it's a thing of beauty.
It is.
It is so spectacularly beautiful. Plus, it has water and challenge and risk reward and all of the things that you want to see from a gold level course. If you're not familiar, watch last year's coverage, get up to speed, and get ready for what could be just a fantastic tournament. I mean, it's kind of funny because we're going to be playing Krokhol, this unbelievable course, as a Pro Tour event, and then we're going to go to a major where the course is, even Matthias admits it, like, it's not the focus.
Yeah,
the course is not the focus, and hopefully we don't get sick of that course over 4 rounds. But there's a valid point that you need to bring people to the sport by putting it in the city.
Yep,
and not
talked about that.
Fully focusing on trying to have a perfect course out in the woods. So, for the Worlds, they need to build a world-class woods course. It's just kind of a must.
Yeah.
And I think they can. They have time.
Yeah.
But Krokhol, I'm super excited. Don't sleep on this one. Like, this is one to watch, even though we've got back-to-back majors.
Yes. I think the other thing that I really like about this course is the elevation change. A lot of these holes have some pretty significant elevation features, and it's not just in, like, throwing up and down, but some greens, for example, have just, like, slopes and danger on it that hopefully you're not going down. But I think it's such a easy way, because sometimes we create the artificial elevation where we just, like, stick a little mound and then put the basket on top of it, and that absolutely adds challenge. But I think one of my favorite designs for greens is to have inside of circle 1, near the edge on one side of the circle, a drop off to a pretty severe and punishing area. The reason I think that's so interesting is it requires ground control. It requires decision making in terms of your shot selection. Do you want to approach the best line, or do you care more about staying away from the danger? It makes for interesting putting if you go down that. And I think Krokhol does a really nice job of taking advantage of that, and that risk that you could be inside circle 1 and the basket could be above your head if you don't control where your disc is going. It's an element of difficulty. I think it takes advantage of the natural beauty of this course, and I'm really, really excited to be watching it again. I really enjoyed it last year. I'm glad it's back on tour, and it's gonna be. You're right that it's interesting that we bounce from this right over to a major, but I think that this is going to be one that people are they're gonna watch and they're gonna go, wow, this really was phenomenal.
I mean, it's hard to match the scenery of Nordic Europe for disc golf, and it combines the just incredible natural beauty with at least 16 of fabulous holes. Like that it's just there's a reason it's number one. I mean, you look at the UDisc comment. Go to the UDisc right now. Look at the comments.
Yeah.
People are like, I've played 400 courses. The most recent comment, I played 400 courses around the world, and this is the best one I've ever played.
What
This
more
is
do you
it.
need to know?
It's sick.
This is it.
So super excited. Last year, Ricky Wysocki birdied 5 straight to close out after kind of letting a lead slip away. Ends up winning by 5 shots over Jakub Semerad. And this was the Ricky like absolute heater phase of his season. He was just unbelievable in Europe. And then over in FPO, Kristin Lätt won by 6 strokes over Silva Saarinen, with Anneli Togias Moneste 11 shots back in third. So, a deeper field this year for sure. There's more Americans coming over because of Worlds. Not everyone is playing. Evelina, for instance, sitting this one out, taking a week off before the majors.
Well, you know what happens when Evelina takes breaks, right?
No kidding.
Watch out.
So, but for the most part, the big names are playing and getting ready to go for the majors. So, it should be a really, really competitive event. And I can't wait to watch. I think making picks is really tough because a lot of these players haven't played Krokhol before. And you can only rely so much on what we saw last year, I think. But we have to make picks, Josh. So let's make them.
Okay. Where do
I'll
you
start
start
this week.
All right.
I'm going to start an FPO. With Evelina out, I'm going straight chalk. Straight chalk. I'm sorry. I know it's boring, but I'm taking Kristin, Holland, and Silva, and I'm taking it to the bank. I'm going for the perfect podium here. Holland just absolutely scorched in match play earlier today. So I feel good about that. I know Kristin's been a little up and down, but still, has
doesn't miss top two.
Top two. So
you need her for the perfect podium. Yeah.
And Silva seems to be coming back off of a little bit of a sickness that had her out of the field last weekend. But she should be ready to roll. And she hasn't been playing her best disc golf the last couple of events, but a little break I think will do her well. And those three are so. They're separated this season for the most part, besides from Evelina, and she's not in the field.
Love it. I'm going to go close. Kristin and Silva are both on my list. I'm going to leave Holland out, though, and I'm going to replace it with Anniken Sten. I want the Norwegian to be for here. She just came off of a great performance. A little home country cooking. Came off of PCS with a podium. I worry that there are too many holes that Holland could take big numbers. I don't think that means that she, like blows up or loses leads. I think it means that she probably finishes 5th. I think the scorecard's going to have a lot of birdies and a couple doubles. And so I'm expecting Holland to finish like 5th, keep her streak going, doing well. But give me the home crowd favorite Anniken Sten for this weekend.
All right.
MPO.
You're up. I
really, 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 really wanted to go straight Europeans, and I couldn't talk myself into it. Gannon comes in first for me. It's even if he doesn't win, he's just been so consistently getting points that I want to continue to get points from Gannon. So Gannon comes on my list. I am taking Nicholas, who is having his best season, up to 1045 rated. Expect him to continue that. And my last pick, though, Lauri Lehtinen. Lauri has been so good since he has come back, and he has continued to get points. I think he still gets us our 5 times multiplier, and so even a top 10 from Lauri is worth a good number of points. And so I really tried to find another European, but I just don't believe that Gannon's not going to play well, and so I close it with Gannon, Lauri, Nicholas.
All right. I'm going to go Gannon and Nicholas as well.
Okay.
It's just so hard to pick against guys who are playing so well. And third, I debated leaving him off because he hasn't really been in great form of late, but I have to take Ricky. I mean, there's a confidence factor. Like, he was far and away the best player here last year. I think it fits his game, and I think it's just a get right spot for him. And like a top 10 seems like the downside for me here.
Sure. Yeah. Ricky might be more than any other player a horses for courses kind of guy.
It does feel that way sometimes. I mean, he's got those crazy streaks where he like wins the same tournament 4 years in a row.
He does, and he can be not playing well at all, and then he shows up at the tournament that he's won 4 years in a row, and he cooks, and he looks like the best in the world. He really does get a boost when he is playing at a course that he likes and plays well.
Yeah. So, get ready for Krokhol. It starts tomorrow, Friday. Do we have tee times yet? It's going to be, middle of the night U.S. for FPO.
Yeah, probably 3 a.m.
We have tee times. The lead card tees off at 11 local. So they pushed it out a little bit. So current time in Oslo is 4:30. That's 6 hours ahead of Eastern. So that's a 5 a.m. start for FPO lead card, or feature card, I should say, on the East Coast.
That's 3 a.m. for me.
It is. Yes.
I'll catch up with the FPO.
It's a catch-up situation, and you flip on.
Sorry, everybody.
MPO will start at 8:30 a.m. your time, Josh. So you wake up and you flip on the MPO.
I can do that. That is something that I can.
So lock in for Krokhol, and we will be with you on. Well, I guess, Josh, when's your flight on Sunday?
So my flight is Sunday evening. So we need to do the reacts right after the round on Sunday.
Okay, that makes sense because it'll be done
close to it
midday. Yeah. We'll talk. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna have to do it at like 5 Eastern, 3 your time.
Okay. That window sounds about right. I mean, I've got some things, but we'll plan around it.
Anyway, we'll have a reacts on Sunday, and we'll look forward to talking with you about that. If you're an Ultiworld Disc Golf subscriber, just go to discgolf.ultiworld.com/subscribe. Might as well do it right now so that you can get into the Discord and enjoy the live chat all weekend. It's the best.
All weekend this weekend, reacts and Estonia.
And then, hey, we're about to start locking in daily reacts for the next 2 majors. There's going to be a lot of subscriber-only content coming out. So now has never been a better time to sign up. And Josh is going to be in Europe the whole time. So he's going to be, what are they? I forget what they eat there. You're going to have some reindeer. You're going to have some lingonberry. You're going to get some Swedish meatballs. Like, I don't know what they eat in Estonia.
I have no idea.
Let's look right now. What's the best food in Estonia? Best food in Estonia. I mean, I assume it's similar to what else? A wild boar?
Okay. I see I see like a blood sausage and potato and barley porridge.
Have you had blood sausage?
I have.
It's so good.
Yes, I have.
Wild boar. Oh, you got to get some crazy snacks. Okay. Curd cheese surrounded by chocolate called kohuke. All right.
I will try it. I will try anything, basically. Okay, that's not true.
Mashed potatoes and barley combined into a porridge called mulgipuder.
That's what I was seeing.
It can be a main dish. Okay. They like barley there. A lot of barley stuff. Barley sausage. Let's see. Spotted dog. Another dessert.
I see also a pork with sauerkraut.
And you got to try the fish. It looks like they like to eat herring.
Okay.
And sprats. Cheese balls. Okay. Hard to go wrong with that.
Yeah.
A lemonade with apple juice in it called Valga Klar.
That sounds delicious.
Okay. Very interesting.
All right.
You have like the Nordic influence, but probably also the Russian influence.
Yeah.
So you're going to get some interesting fusions of food there.
All right. I'll let you know. I'll definitely
report back.
I will. Oh, 100%. 100%.
All right. Next time we talk with Josh, he'll be on his way to Estonia. And when he's on the show next Tuesday, he'll be in Estonia. I think we're going to be doing shows Tuesday and Wednesday ahead of the major. And then we'll do daily reacts. And we're going to have a very special bonus episode at some point, probably the week after the Estonian major. We're going to have to figure all that out because World starts Wednesday, right?
No. You have a week. So
wait, we get a week?
You get a week break and then Worlds.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes. I promise.
I believe you. You know more than I do. Yeah.
I promise
okay.
you. I have
Huge.
a week. I have a week. I'm literally just chilling in Tampere with nothing, like just to hang out.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
You got to go to the saunas.
I'll go with saunas.
I'll send you the sauna that I went to. It's awesome.
Okay, do
it's
it.
On the water. So you like go into the sauna and then you go out and you jump into the water and
Love
it's
it.
ice cold.
Okay. Yeah.
Very refreshing.
Send it to me. Gonna play some disc golf. It's gonna be great.
Awesome. All right. So as for next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, main shows, sub bonus starts Thursday, and we roll on. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Give us a like and subscribe or a review wherever you listen to the pod, and we will talk to you next week right here on the Upshot.